Oh, hello, there I am. So I was just talking to myself for like, oh, good lord. So I was talking to myself for like a full minute there. Hello, everyone. How are you? Oh, this is such a scuffed stream. Absolutely scuffed stream. You just didn't. No, I did not mute on purpose. I had to restart everything, and because I had to restart everything, Streamlabs starts with my mic on mute so that you guys don't hear me scuffling around back here, setting everything up. Okay, let's take a moment just to say hello again. Yes, we are drawing Rosemary. So we had a joint hallucination. The previous stream did not actually happen. We were just very excited for Halloween, and our excitement for Halloween made us all have a joint hallucination, and it was very scary, but luckily it didn't really happen. And everything is okay now, and I did not mute myself for like a full minute there. So okay, hello to Corbin and FFX2 player and Sleepy and Real Burrito and Guardian HQ. Hello. I also want to say Guardian HQ. I often get people commenting in the videos saying you kind of direct them towards my stuff, so I just wanted to say thank you so much for that. That's really awesome of you. Hello Candy Banana, and hello to Rank, and hello to Burrito, hello to Zane. Hunter was in the last chat. I don't know if he saw we have a new stream going, but hello, just in case he's lurking. And hello to anyone else who is lurking. I love weak internet stream vibes. It's same in my country. Yeah, this is the true horror of living so far away from everyone, first of all. And second of all, the internet infrastructure it's not that it's terrible, it's just not the best. Like, ironically enough, I think Australia and New Zealand have much worse internet than we do, despite them being much better countries in terms of like economics, and their infrastructure is a lot better. But our internet is still not the best, so we kind of just have to deal with it. We just kind of have to cope. What exactly happened? My internet was being very, very strange for mysterious reasons that I genuinely don't know. It might be something to do with our internet provider. It might be due to weather. It might be due to weather on the other side of things. But I reset the router. I reset Streamlabs. And we're just going to pretend like it didn't happen. And it seems that resetting the router actually helped connection. So we're just going to hope it kind of stays alive for the stream. And if it doesn't and we have another upset, I will do another stream either tomorrow or in the week. Because, as I was saying, that's what I was saying. The show I was working on, hello Diamond. The show I was working on has finished our side of production. So I am no longer working on that show. I am at the moment looking for a new job. I'm looking for a new project to work on. I was going to see if they could move me onto a different project within the studio, but they decided not to for various reasons. It's to do with like the software we use, and they felt that they couldn't use me on the new project. So at the moment, I don't have anything occupying my time in the week. So as a result, if we have to do like an extra stream, I can do it in the week at the moment until I'm able to kind of find a more, I don't want to say stable, but like a more traditional income. But until then, my time is a little bit more relaxed than it has been up until now. But it's hopefully, because my stream is saying that it's on excellent quality, so hopefully it stays that way and we don't have to worry about more technical issues. I'm just hoping it stays stable, but I think it's okay. Grab some water because my mouth gets dry when I am stressed. It never happened because I said so. See, exactly. But yes, we are drawing Rosemary. So this is the thumbnail that I did last stream. Oh no, yeah, well, the joint hallucination we had. This was the thumbnail that I drew of her, and I was thinking, at first I was going to have her chest point out this way, but I realized when I drew this arm up here, it would actually look quite cool if this is her spine, and she's holding her very heavy sword this way, and then she's just got her arm up here. But I decided we will find a cave, and we will draw Rosemary, even though I don't really like her. I just kind of don't like her because she doesn't really have a personality, but it's not like she's hateful or anything. So we might as well give her a draw, especially because we have one last High Guardian Spice video to go. So it'll be kind of nice to have this stream just give her a little bit of focus as the supposed main character that doesn't have any personality or any interest in doing anything plot related. You mentioned about your job last time. Is everything okay? Yeah, no, everything is great. Like I said, I work as a private contractor, I think is the word. So I get contracted for a specific job on a very specific project. And once the project is completed, then obviously the contract is completed because we finished work on the project. And then I have to basically find a new project to apply to with whatever studio and say, hey, I see you guys have job openings for this new project. This is my demo reel. Do you think you guys might be able to use me on this new project? And then they say yes or no. And if they say yes, then you sign a contract with them for a specific amount of time. And then you work on the show or movie or whatever it is until it is done or until your contract is completed. So we finished production on this show. So my contract is done. And then I just have to find a new job, a new contract. And the studio I was working for, they do have another projects they're working on. However, they're using a different software for it than the one we've been using up until now. And they just decided for whatever reason that they didn't want to take me on to that project. So I kind of have to job hunt now. So my time is a little bit more flexible. That's kind of the end of the story. Because until I get a new stable job, I have to job hunt, and until then my hours are flexible. And yeah, that's what's going on. It's just kind of the business. If you're working as a freelance contractor, not as an employee, that's kind of what you have to deal with. Give her some eyes. I do know she has really big eyes. One thing I don't like about High Guardian Spice's character designs, especially on Rosemary, they give her bottom lashes, but they don't give her a bottom line. And I don't think I'm a big fan of that. I don't really like that specific design. Hey, Tuesday Art. Yeah, I reset the router, so hopefully we won't have any more issues. So I want to give her a little bit of pressure up here, so because I'm going to give her like a determined expression. Clear that. Give her that. Nah, she looks a little bit too babyish if I do it that way. I might give her a little bit more of a chin. I think she has one. Yeah, she does. So I might just give her a bit of a chin rather than the completely round face. Otherwise, she will end up looking like a Cupid doll. And we don't want to babyfy her too much. There we go. That's better, yeah. Since your High Garden Spice video series is going to end, I am proud to announce that I am turning High Garden Spices into an SMT game, complete with tutorial enemies that kill you. All thanks to RPG makers. Oh, I see what you're saying. SMT burrito is Shin Megami Tensei. Rosemary as a fight-interested character would be great. Lavender trained her, but she can't find and is really clumsy all the time. Makes no sense. Yeah, no, there's a lot of it that doesn't make sense. I'm actually going to go into that in the final thoughts video, because they can't decide if she's like a competent fighter or if she's clumsy, because it depends on the episode. Like sometimes she's very clumsy and not good at fighting whatsoever, and then other times she's like portrayed as being very, very competent and like very good at it. So you have like episodes where she's kind of just bumbling around, and then you have episodes like the one with Esther, where the whole point of that episode was, oh, she's so much better than him even though she's a girl, and it doesn't make sense because that's not the way she was portrayed earlier. So it's kind of just a mess. Like everything else, it's kind of just a mess. She changes according to what they want to do at that episode, and there's no consistency whatsoever, and it's really annoying. Hope your revenue from YouTube helps. Your channel is steadily growing. I hope so too. I actually got payment from YouTube. Like, that was the one thing. The day that they told me that they won't be able to use me on this other project, I actually did get a payment from YouTube, which, because my channel is small, I don't get a payment every single month because it kind of has to build up to a certain benchmark before it pays out. So to have that payment come out the same day was kind of really not reassuring, but it was like encouraging to be like, well, you've got this side revenue coming in. So that was quite nice. I was quite happy with that. Let me grab some water, some more. Rosemary's skill set changes based on the plot. It does. Like, it completely changes her abilities depending on what the writers want to do. And that's a big problem. Like, they don't build the character and say, okay, these are our characters, these are their set skills. So we use those set skills and apply them to the plot we want to tell. They'll be like, no, this episode we want her to be better than Esther, so now she's good at adventuring. And in this episode we want to show her as quirky and kind of an underdog, so now she's bad at fighting. And now in this episode we want to show she's a competent leader, and we want to show all this growth she's supposedly done, so now she's good at fighting again. It makes no sense. Sage should be clumsy. I think so. That would actually make a lot of sense. It would make her a lot more endearing and give her like more of a reason to be as anxious as she is, because the old magic thing, it's just dumb. It's really stupid. It's stupid because it doesn't make much sense, and it's stupid because it's frustrating. And doesn't really make sense because, like I said in the last video, they introduced the idea that, oh, if you're good at old magic, then it's a great foundation for new magic. So it's like, so why? Just why? If she was clumsy and like actually bad at new magic because she was actually bad at it, that would make just things a lot more interesting. Does she actually even have top lashes? Her fringe is always in the way, so it's really hard to actually see. I don't actually know if she does or does not, because the reference doesn't show it very well. Rosemary literally has 0 wisdom in her wisdom stats, but her strength stat is 40. Yeah, but like, it would also be like her strength stat is at 40, but her accuracy is like 2. I have a very unspecific set of skills. Yeah, it makes absolutely no sense. it's annoying as well. It's annoying as an audience member because you can never figure out how you're supposed to think of this character. You never know. Am I supposed to like root for her to get better? Am I supposed to be impressed by her skills? Like, what am I supposed to feel for this character? And like I said, I have a lot of thoughts that I'm going to go into in the final thoughts video. My month has been a little bit crazy with the end of production, so I've been a little bit all over the place, but I have completed the script. I'm just kind of here and there, I might edit a word or two, but the script is more or less done. So I need to record it, which I'll probably do in the week this week, because again, I'm not working right now, so I have time, and then I can edit it, and I hope I can get it out soon, because as soon as I'm done with script writing and I've got the audio recorded, I'm pretty fast when it comes to the actual editing side of video production. So it shouldn't be too long afterwards then. Give her her much needed ears so she can finally hear all the nonsense that comes out of Sage's mouth. The old/new magic thing was it has so much potential, but they really fumbled it. Why bring up privilege and accessibility if you aren't going to do anything with that? Yeah, I don't know. And you know what's infuriating is while hunting for things in the final thoughts video, I found a not a transcript, but somebody's like play-by-play, because they attended the High Guardian Spice panel in 2018 when it was at the Crunchyroll thing that they do once a year. And in that panel, when Rodriguez and his writing crew talk about the magic system, all they have to say about it is the magic system is very dynamic. It has a big place in the plot. And apparently that's all they had to say about it. So, it's infuriating. It's like saying something without actually saying anything, you know? Like, it's just a bunch of word salad. It doesn't actually mean anything. Bring this in a little bit. There we go. I'm giving her very wide hips because she has that big circle, this big skirt, puffy skirt thing. So I'm just giving her quite a big mass at the bottom so that I don't draw the skirt too thin. If only High Guardian Spice at least took the time to establish their world with magic guardians and what the main characters want. And if only it had taken the time to do any kind of writing whatsoever. Besides, like, this character and this character have a crush on each other. It's infuriating. Sorry. If Rosemary's clumsiness make her feel bad to not be exactly like Lavender when she was a schoolgirl, then yes, that could be interesting too, but that's not what's happening. Yeah, no, it's not what's happening. They don't really do anything with the concept of Rosemary following in her mother's footsteps. Like, that seems like such an obvious plot, but they don't go there. And I can't decide if they didn't want to do that story, or if they just assumed that the audience would like think, oh, that's the story you're going for because they've watched other stories like this. So they just kind of took it for granted that the audience would think that, so they don't actually have to write it into the show because the audience would just automatically assume that's what the story is. It like I said, it's infuriating. There's so much with this show that breaks my brain the longer I think about it. And then I read comments on the videos I've made, and then people bring up things that I didn't even consider. And then I realize, oh, that's another thing that makes absolutely no sense. And it just gets kind of worse and worse the more you think about it. So you feel like you're steadily going insane. Hey, Noir. Again, I said this before, but it's very shocking how shallow everything was on the show, given that Rodriguez did pitch the show many, many times. Oh yeah, hi Hunter. Yeah, sorry, I reset my router, so we should be okay now. And yeah, like that concept that Rodriguez had, apparently he's been drawing these characters since like high school or something. And again, it just makes me think that, and I don't want to think this way because I feel it's very uncharitable, but it's like all he did was draw doodles in his school books about like Sage and Rosemary kissing. Like he would draw like them kissing and being cutesy together, and that is as much thought as he ever gave this concept at all. Like, he never thought about it any further than that. And that's such a mean assumption to have about somebody's project. But it's like, but dude, considering what you've made, I don't know what else to think. This foot is too high. I'm gonna have to bring it down a little bit. See if her heel is here. Her heel is here, so it should be there. Okay. Bring this leg down here. Thigh, ankle, heel, I think. Okay, so it should be around there. Okay. Hey, Eldritch. This might be unpopular, but I like how they put in an ethics class, because giving children unlimited power without teaching them ethics is just breeding a bunch of future villains. Yeah, like, it's a good idea. And I like the joke of having the demon teacher as the ethics class teacher, just because it's visually funny. But then they don't do anything with it. Much like everything else, they don't do anything with anything. And I've recently found out that the demon teacher, she's not a demon, she's a tiefling from Dungeons and Dragons, which kind of just raises a whole bunch of new questions, but whatever. I'm at this point where I'm like, just like, whatever. I think it could have been more interesting if new magic was addictive. Like, maybe like make terror spears a sort of dependent for those who use them. Again, there's so many interesting ideas you could do, and it's the fact that they did none of them. That's the thing. It's not that they did them badly, it's not that they missed out on potentials, it's that they did none of them, not a single one. That's what's so shocking to me. There we go. I think she's leaning a bit, but we'll see. A little bit, but I think it's okay. Okay, so collarbone, shoulder. Shoulder goes there, shoulder goes there. Okay. Do you have any interest in Has Been Hotel? I need to watch more of it. I did watch the pilot. I need to watch Hell of a Boss, actually, because I hear that's very good. Like, people really enjoy that. Has Been Hotel, I did have criticisms of, but they're not like High Guardian Spice criticisms. They're just little things like there's too much movement in a lot of scenes, which makes it hard to keep track. I found a lot of the characters are over-designed, so it's difficult to kind of keep track about who the main characters are in a scene, because so many of the characters are just so busy in their designs. But I mean, it's okay. I think I need to see more of it. That's what I'll say. I'll have to see more of it before I make an actual statement about it. But it's fine. This arm is too long. Hold on. The ethics class is very funny in context because of how unethical the school is. Yeah, especially if you take into consideration the grandmother of the triad is just constantly talking about the fact that she wants to murder the students. And it's like, okay. It doesn't make much sense. Again, so little of this show makes sense. Okay, I'm going to bring this shoulder down a bit because this arm is really long. Bring this down. Bring this up. Okay, so that's where the arm will be. Okay. Okay. Buffy did the magic addiction thing pretty well. I need to watch Buffy. I've never actually watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer, believe it or not. And it's not for any reason. Like, I don't have a reason for why I haven't watched it. It's just something that I just never got around to. But I feel like I should watch it, even though I think Josh Whedon has kind of fallen out of favor. Like, people used to be very into Josh Whedon, and these days they don't seem as charitable to him anymore. But I don't always know if that's for, good reasons, or if it's just because it's popular to dislike him now. Because people really turned on James Gunn after they decided, oh, did you know he said X, Y, and Z on Twitter? And it's very clear that the people who said that didn't know that James Gunn worked on Troma Studios before. He actually directed Tromeo and Juliet, which if you've seen Tromeo and Juliet, it's such a purposefully messed up film. It's designed to be insane. So I don't know when people say they don't like Joss Whedon, if it's just for like a nonsense reason where it's popular to dislike him, or if it's like because he's actually kind of not great. Like, I don't know. Like, I tried to find out if the Triumvirate is the government body running all of the established locations, and the wiki has no information on the Triumvirate or Lindgoth. No, they don't, because the wiki is based on the show. They don't have any external knowledge, they only have what the show gives them. So if the show doesn't tell them anything, then they can't put it in the wiki. I think I really screwed this up. No, I didn't. Okay. Sometimes I have to double check on my own arm whether I've got the thumb on the right side of the hand or not. And I might have to grab just a reference on fists, because I think I might be screwing it up a little bit, but we'll see. Her legs are really long. Hold on. Just kind of squash them up a bit. No, I don't want to squash them. I just want to squash the legs. There we go. Grab this. Turn off aspect ratio. Oh, sorry, it's my phone buzzing under the mic. Yeah, there we go, that's fine. Because her dress is going to go up to her knees, so I don't want to make them too short. Hey, Hatim! Puffy, do you shatter and enjoy... Do you... I thought you said shatter. Do you share and enjoy fan art? I'm not sure what you mean. I'm not sure if that's a typo or not. You might have to elaborate on that. I do like fan art, if that's what you mean. I draw fan art more than I draw original creations, because I'm better at taking something other people have made and like building upon it or working with it than I am being the designer or creator myself. That's why I'm an animator and not a character designer. Okay, I'm just gonna grab out of a folder a reference for the fists, because I can already tell I'm going to struggle with this and I don't want to make a fool of myself on a live stream. I'm not in the mood to do that today. Oh no, sorry, I meant that if people draw you some fan... Oh, I would love that. I would be totally into that. Thank you. That would be awesome. References. Just wait for this to load. In most Magical Girl shows, the MC's relationship with your family is the reason why they have the values they have. But Rosemary's brother and dad aren't even real characters. Yeah. No, I don't even know... I feel like the brother is going to, or was meant to have a bigger role in the story based on his character design. But then again, the things that, like the decisions the people made who wrote this show are so weird and arbitrary. I can't decide whether he was meant to have a bigger role in the story or if they just designed him the way they did because they wanted to. I genuinely don't know, because of their design decisions make no sense. And so many of the things they do make no sense. So very often I feel like I'm going insane because I don't know what the point is. I don't know why they decided to do something the way they did. Okay, here we go. This one is good. I just want to grab... Oops. I want to grab this one. Where is it? This one. This one. Copy. Paste. Let's drag it into view. Come on. There we go. Scale and transform. Flip horizontal. There we go. Okay. What stuff does chat like? Oh, okay. Also, now that's what I call thick hips. Yeah, I'm going to give her her big puffy skirt, so I didn't want to make it too small or too thin, so I just gave her a lot of bottom volume so that I can not skimp her on how much her skirt actually puffs at the bottom. Do that. Do that. This finger goes here. This finger goes here. And I I see. Okay, so we're gonna do it this way. Okay, and then this thumb goes here, and then it goes like this. Okay, there we go. Let's kind of clean this up a little bit. There we go. Okay. And that hand is fine. I feel like High Guardian Spice is what happens when someone who makes fun of world building designs a fantasy setting. They think you just have to come up with whimsical names and people won't ask questions. Yeah. Again, it's so difficult because so much of it just does not make sense. So you try and apply logic to it, but at the same time you can't really, because what's the point of trying to figure out something that makes no logical sense? No, that's a bamboo. Where is my sword asset? I thought I downloaded one. Okay. We're just gonna have to deal with that in a sec. Let's do her outfit first because the sword goes all the way back there, so I'll worry about it later. Actually, don't I have a reference for Rosemary's sword? Let's go back into this folder. And let's see, I have reference for Amaryllis's wand, but I don't think I have reference for Rosemary's sword. Oh, let me show you guys the wand actually, because I finally found that art. I was looking for it last stream and I couldn't find it. And I was upset because it's actually really cool. And it's little things like that that makes you like really upset because this show had good ideas and good concepts and they were just never banked upon. Okay, there's Rosemary's sword, so I'm just going to drop this in here. It's not like the detailed version of his sword, but I can't be asked to draw the fully detailed version of the sword. It's so over detailed and there's so much going on there for no real reason, so I don't feel like messing with it. Where is it? I thought I had it. Of course, now that I want to show you guys, I can't find the thing that I want to show you guys, even though I had just found it earlier today. Is it in one of these ones? You know what? I'm actually not going to go hunting for it because, again, you guys can't see what I'm doing, so you're just kind of staring at a blank screen while I try and hunt for this really cool image of Amaryllis's wand, which I cannot find. Okay. I'll look for it later, maybe at the end of the stream, then I'll put it on screen and we can have a look at it because it's really good. It's really cool. High Guardian Spice has a bad habit of adding in lore stuff as a part of one-off gags. Sage mentions an entire village for the sake of a gag between her and Amaryllis. Yeah, they do that a lot. There's a lot where they'll mention things and it's supposed to be funny. And I think a good symptom of this is the entire character of Redbud. Because the thing about Redbud is she's supposed to be a one-off joke that, haha, there's this teacher and she's really psychotic. But then the problem is they didn't develop any of the other teachers, so they keep using Redbud in situations. And then she just becomes confusing, because it's like, well, why is she constantly trying to kill off the students? That makes no sense. Why is she here? And it's because she was written as a one-off gag, and then they used that one-off gag as actual real world building. And it's like, but why? Why did you do this? And there's a lot of it like that, where trying to find logical explanations for why things are done is a recipe to drive you insane because so much of it was not done for a logical reason at all. With your voice and strong High Guardian vibes, that isn't a blank screen. It's like going into a magical class with poison and magic that doesn't make sense. Yeah. I know she doesn't have it. Oh, no, she does have it in this one, but I don't think she has it in her actual... Oh, she does. I was going to say I don't think she has lace at the bottom of her skirt, but she actually does, which is good, because it does... That feels like something that her design should have. You know? Where you're like, this should have some lace at the bottom. Wait, let's do her hair first, before we get into the nitty-gritty of her outfit, because her hair is quite a big part of her personality. Do not save. She doesn't actually have completely... I'm sorry guys, I'm gonna have to cover up her ears. I know she needs them, but maybe it's for the best, because then she doesn't have to listen to Sage. So we're gonna cover up the ears. There we go. Didn't they harm their own students in Hogwarts? Yes, they did. And that's why I compared it to the Mandrake class, which somebody pointed out in the comments. That's actually in the second movie. It's not in the first one. But it's such a iconic moment in my mind of what Hogwarts is like that I always think of that. And every single time Redbud was on screen, that's kind of what it made me think of, is that moment in Harry Potter. Yeah, I'm very sorry, guys. Wait, maybe I can... Let me see if I can salvage this. Maybe we can give her some ears. If I just kind of move this... Is there a way where we can salvage her ears? Otherwise, I must put her... Oh, you know what? I'll do that. What I'm going to do, guys, is I am going to have this part go behind the ear. And then I'll have this part of it come... Like, it tucks into the ear like that. Then she can have ears and we can have the big puff. There is art of Rosemary with ears visible, but that was in the Crunchyroll poster. Oh, really? I think I have the poster, I just don't feel like finding it right now. Because again, my folders are a bit of a mess because I am moving things around for the final part and making sure everything is in the right folder for me to grab it in editing. So at the moment, I'm not too sure where everything is while I'm on a live stream, and I don't want you guys to stare at a blank Clip Studio Paint window too much while I go hunting for it. Let me just flip this quick because this feels wrong. No, it's okay. Okay. Just checking. Recently rewatched South Park Bigalunga and Uncut. Even if plot is nonsensical, the writing is great. Yeah, somebody pointed out in the Halloween video where I was talking about why does Watership Down get this infamous violence reputation when like violence is just a part of adult animation and nobody blinks. And somebody pointed out that a big difference is that in adult animation the violence is treated as comedy, which I think is a good point, and it is true, and that, I don't want to say mistake, but that is something I overlooked while I was making that video. However, I do think it's interesting that a parody movie like South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut does actually kind of have a more structured plot than High Guardian Spice does. Like, you're never confused in Bigger, Longer, and Uncut why anything is happening. And it largely makes sense, even though it's kind of not supposed to because it's just a dumb parody movie. You never questioned as to why anything is happening. Everything has a logical reason for it. Well, logical enough. Who needs regular armor when you have plot armor? Yeah. But again, I think her design is better than the original design. Actually, I don't know how many of you guys have seen Rosemary's like initial design when she was still a part of Rodriguez's animation student project. Have you guys seen what she looks like in that? Because I will show you if you have not. Ah, yes, that's true. Instead of High Guardian Spice, we're like, wait, what's happening? Use the water, get more water. Your dad couldn't replicate the water without any water to stay. Yeah, there's so much of it where you're just like, what? Why? What? How? One thing that I was slapping my head because I couldn't believe it when I realized that when Time is contacting a demon, she wants to tell her father about this magical healing water, as if the concept of a magic potion that can heal the forest is such a weird concept that her dad would never in his wildest dreams have come up with that himself. The show acts like she needs to tell him that magic potion water exists. Otherwise, the idea of making a magic potion to save the forest would never occur to him. And it's like, what? What? Hey, Turox. South Park was written by experienced writers, yeah. Also, on top of this, the South Park writers, they're kind of trial by fire. Because if you guys have not watched the 6 Days to Air documentary on South Park, they have a week to make an episode. And they take 6 days of that week to write the episode. And then they do all the animation in the final day. It's insane. And it's a massive work crunch environment. But that's how they do it. And because of the nature of the show and because of its political commentary, that's kind of the way they have to do it. So I also feel the reason the writing on South Park is so good is because those writers literally had to learn how to write in the most extreme conditions. It's like how chefs have had to learn how to cook while being on Hell's Kitchen. Like, you learn how to be good very quickly if you want to survive. When you get down to it, the main message of the healing water is that hydration is important. Yes, it's true. Okay, I'm going to do her lace. Normally I would get like really into lace and I would really get in there and do a lot of details, but I don't want to do a 5-hour stream, so we are not going to go as in detail into lace as I would normally go with a picture. Because normally what I would do is I would then do for every one of these, I would do this and do it all the way around, but we don't have time for that today. So the lace is implied. Do that. That. There we go. Hey Goof. Is it Goof? Goof? Not sure. For as powerful as they try to make the rot, it's surprisingly easily defeated by healing water, and that is not in short supply. Yeah, like again, I'm so confused by that plot point. Because it's not like that was the only healing water. It's not like the spring they got it from dried up. It's just there. And like I said, because the healing water mission thing is apparently something that Guardians have had to do as students so many times in the past, where the town just kind of comes out and makes fun of them for it. Isn't there like a stockpile of it or something? I'm so confused by that plot point. And again, I feel like I'm going insane because you question the logic behind it, and you kind of just have to make peace with the fact that there are no answers. There are no answers to any of these questions. Hey Mozuku. The art style in that short was much more appealing. Yeah, I think because Rodriguez was kind of going... He was more influenced by the art style of other cartoons, like Adventure Time and... what else was airing at the time? It looks a bit like Centaur World, but Centaur World hadn't come out yet. Whereas for High Guardian Spice, he was more trying to emulate anime. And I don't know if he felt that he had to do it that way because he was working for Crunchyroll. And he was like, okay, well, we're doing something for Crunchyroll, so we kind of have to lean into the anime aesthetic more. Or if that was just something that naturally came about in his own art style. Like, I'm not sure. Because his own art that has nothing to do with High Guardian Spice, it's also become a lot more anime in the visuals. So who knows? How long will this stream be? If it isn't long enough, I'll have to find something else worthwhile to listen to. I'm not sure. We'll see how long it goes. I'm going to try and finish Rosemary. My throat is a little bit sore already. I don't know why. But we'll see how long I can go. And like I said, if my throat dies on me or we have trouble or whatever, I'll do another stream either tomorrow or in the week. To make it worse, they could literally store hundreds of thousands of gallons of healing water in flasks and barrels. Yeah. Again, the more you think about it, the more you realize more things that don't make sense. It's not one of those things where the more you think about it, you can kind of figure it out. The more you think about it, the stupider it becomes. It just becomes worse and worse. Might need to make this a little bit thicker. There we go. I feel like the healing water concept was heavily inspired by the rose quartz fountains from Steven Universe. Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I have a feeling that's also why Rosemary is named Rosemary, quite frankly. She doesn't really have, like, her shoes just kind of go all the way around, but I kind of want to give her a heel. Just a little bit. Just because I always feel that shoes that look like this, they remind me of gumboots. So I always just think of them as being a lot sturdier. There we go. Hey CPuff, out of curiosity, have you watched Arcane? I have not watched Arcane yet. I did watch Edge Runners. I liked Edge Runners. I wasn't blown away by it, but I did like it. I still need to get to Arcane, because I've heard nothing but good things about it. If new magic can do anything, why not make an infinite fountain of healing waters so you can just use new magic without consequence? Heaven knows. It's so broken. And like I said, the more you think about it, the more broken it becomes. And the more questions you ask yourself. And you're like, but wait a minute, what about this? But what about this? The Triumvirate hurt the environment. Bad guys. The Guardians hurt the environment. Good guys. Yeah. Somebody also pointed out, it's like they wanted a funny, almost parody nastiness to the world. Like they wanted the Triumvirate to be comedically mean, even though they're supposed to be really wise. And they had like, that's also why a lot of characters are mean. But then they also kind of wanted to be this like feel-good, empowering story. Like they didn't know what they want, even tone-wise. They couldn't figure out what they were going for, even on a base level. Oh, that sore throat thing made me remember that we're only interested in sex, but it better not contain any sex. When I heard that, I was drinking coffee and almost drowned. Oh, I'm so sorry. I almost cut that. I was worried that I was ranting too much about my own feelings regarding shipping and like how seriously a lot of people take it. But that line of we're only interested in sex, but it better not contain any sex, I thought that was so funny. It kind of made me keep that entire sequence into the video just because I thought that line was so funny. The story feels like it's fighting itself half the time. Yeah. And I don't know how true this is, but I heard that there was a lot of like disagreement among the writers while making the show over what to do about certain things. Like that's why the writing also feels inconsistent, is because so often they just had completely different ideas over what they actually wanted to do. The sword is so basic. I don't think I'm actually going to use it for reference. I'm just gonna draw it myself. Just flip this. Come on. There we go. And copy. Copy. Paste. There we go. And then we will do this. Oh, sorry, I almost swallowed myself there. I have a question for you guys, because this is for the upcoming video. There is a section of the video where I'm talking about Sage and like how bad she's written and just some of the horrible things she does, where she's very manipulative and she uses her emotions to manipulate other people, where she'll like cry I'm thinking specifically of the scene where she's guilt tripping Time for not helping her, even though Time did nothing wrong. And one of the things Rosemary does is she starts crying to make herself the victim in the situation. Now, while I'm talking about that, there is a brief mention or joke I want to do where I very, very quickly, for like a few seconds, cut to a tweet I found involving one of the main writers. Now, the thing is, up until this point, I have not really brought any of the real writers' opinions or actions into the reviews that much. I point fun at Rodriguez a lot because he is the guy running the show. It's his name on the product. But after talking about how manipulative Sage is and how she uses her emotions, especially crying, as a weapon to manipulate others, I have this tweet that I really want to flash on screen, but I can't decide whether to use it or just completely leave it out, because I'm worried that by putting it in the review, I'm starting to lean a little bit too heavily onto the real world creators. So I wanted to ask you guys if you guys thought if this is worth keeping in, or if it's better for me to stick to my guns and just leave out the real world of the writers and their opinions and their perspectives and whatever agendas they have. I don't really want to go into that because, like I said in the first part, I feel it detracts from why the show is bad. And the show is bad removed from any kind of agenda. It's just a bad show because it's written. But the part where I'm talking about why Sage uses emotions to manipulate the people around her, I have this tweet and it's screaming for me to use it in the review, and I can't decide whether I should use it because it's so perfect to use, or if I should just cut it because I feel then I'm dragging that agenda and everything surrounding the writers on a personal level into the review when that's something I've purposefully stayed away from up until now. So I thought I would ask. You don't think I should include it? But you need to be careful. Maybe blur out the name and picture and name a bit so people don't bash you for bashing other people. Yeah, like I said, I'm very like, it's so good in terms of the context. But it is kind of coming up against that agenda thing, real world thing, the meta of the show, things going on, everything that happened outside of the show. It's leaning a bit too much into that. And also, I don't really want to invoke Kate's name in the videos. I don't really want to bring up the specter of Kate in the videos themselves. So, I don't know what to do. You should, but don't mention names. I think you should show the tweet, but you should give the writer the benefit of time and maturing. Censoring the tweet's author is good enough to keep the haters off your plate. Now, it's not really about hate. It's not that I'm worried that I'm going to get hate for bringing names up. I am worried about impacting the integrity of the reviews I've made so far, where the agenda and the meta and the outside things involving the writers and things, I don't want to talk about those things. I want to talk about why the show is badly written. And I'm worried that doing this and like including the tweet compromises that perspective. I feel like I kind of break the reviews because that's something I've purposefully stayed away from on purpose. And allowing this to come in, that kind of breaks that angle. And I'm worried it kind of ruins that perspective. It's up to you really, but it's been my experience that most people get caught up in the controversy around the show, whether reviewers bring it up or not. Yeah, see, that's what I'm worried about. On one hand, it could be relevant. On the other hand, Kate Leith is already heavily targeted, and I don't know if it's a good idea to bring her into... Yeah, I don't want to. I really don't want Kate, like, mentioned in the reviews. I don't want her... I don't want to involve her, basically. I feel like you need a Snickers. However, no, it's a Twitter writer's tweet. It's relevant to the current topic. Yeah. Yes. We're just being up to the point that it's something from the writer's leave. On one hand, it could be relevant. Yeah. Like I said, I'm not too sure. And that's kind of why I'm not too sure. It's not so much... I don't want to derail the conversation that I've been building up until that point. That's kind of what it boils down to. And I don't say anything regarding this tweet in the video itself. I kind of just put it on screen for like a few seconds. And I say unrelated tweet. And then I take it off the screen. But even that feels like I'm still bringing that meta argument into the video where I have so far stayed away from doing that. But I don't know. I'll think about it, but I think I might leave it out. And like I said, I didn't write anything to say about it. I just showed it on screen, and I've been trying to decide whether to actually use it or not. It's not like it breaks anything in the review. It's not... Why? Oh. It's just something where I thought, as I was talking about Sage using emotional manipulation, it felt like a perfect tweet to put on screen because I feel it's very indicative of things. But it does kind of go against the reason why I wanted to make these videos in the first place. Yeah, I know. Sorry, it's my phone. Okay, I'm going to move on to line work. Kate jump scare. Yeah, that's pretty apt. Could get into the behind the scenes of High God Inspires, but be about its production value and not about stupid politics behind it. Yeah, it feels like it kind of feels a bit like a personal swing. And it's not that I think you shouldn't do that. I just feel like I've avoided doing that, and I would like to kind of continue to avoid doing that. It's just that it's so perfect, but it might not be worth including, let me put it that way. And it's not like the only good part in the review. I've got quite a few moments in the review which I think are real, like, home runs. So it's not like the entire review becomes less interesting just because I leave it out. It's not like the gotcha moment of the video, you know? I'm just going to color code these so I don't get lost. Do that. It's already clowned enough, so I guess it's not a good idea. You could, but if it's too uncomfortable, then no, you don't have to. I think that can help people understand why this show is so weird. I also feel, though, that's been a talking point in a lot of other people's videos. I haven't really watched them, but just seeing the thumbnails, I know that that's something a lot of people are going to discuss already. You included the review part, so subjecting the next video to different approaches is fine, MIO. Also, you haven't seen other reviews, but Kate Leth has been a subject to a ton of vids. Yeah, that's what I felt. Like, because... And that's also why I purposefully didn't bring a lot of that up in my videos. Because I'm like, I'm sure, I just know that that's what everybody is going to talk about. Because it's such a topic that's so easy to talk about. Because it's such a hot button issue. But the show is so bad in so many other levels, you don't have to talk about it and you can still talk about the show. I kind of hear myself and I kind of feel like I'm talking myself out of using the tweet. So maybe I must leave it out. And I think that might be for the best. Because if I listen to how I'm like talking about... I'm talking more about why I shouldn't use it than I am talking about why I should use it. So I think that might be indicative. Like, I'm talking more about this is why I shouldn't do it, this is why I shouldn't do it, this is why I shouldn't do it, rather than trying to defend all the reasons why using it would be a good idea. So yeah, you know what, maybe I'll just leave it out. It's not worth it at the end of the day. And I'd be sad if I got a whole bunch of comments on that video and all people talk about is like that moment of the tweet, right? And then we're kind of right back at where we started regarding this entire show. We're all just talking about the meta of it and the politics and all that. And then I've kind of undone everything I've built up about this show. Yeah, nobody wants to beat the beaten rooster. Yeah. Yeah, I'll just leave it out. Again, it's not that important to the review. I just thought it was like, that's interesting. but people can like find the tweet on its own. I don't think it's been deleted and it's archived a bunch of places, so it's fine. It's not like it's a tweet that's been deleted and I had to go find it in some deep web forum or anything. If you feel you shouldn't use it, then don't use it. Do what works best. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna cut it. It's fine. I've got other jokes in the review that are funnier anyway. I'm actually going to pop a lozenge while I'm working. And hopefully I don't choke on it while I talk. If my High Guardian Spags game is done, would you like to play it? I don't want to make any promises because I am notoriously slow at everything, especially video games. I love video games, but it takes me an insane amount of time to play them. Like, I think it legit took me 3 years to get to the end of Nier Automata. Nier Automata, however you want to pronounce it. That's why your vids are the best reviews of the show so far. Focus on the show itself. Yeah, and it's kind of why I wanted to do them in the first place. Because I'm like, nobody's talking about the show. It's just badly written. It doesn't matter about any of this politics stuff. It's just a badly written show. We're only interested in the tweets, but it better not contain any tweets. I'm excited to do the audio for the episode. It's going to be really good. I have like one final montage as well, which I'm very excited about because I've already cut the montage. Because in the very first episode of my High Guardian Spike reviews, I did like that montage where I showed how you can cut all that travel time down to one section without any of the annoying filler. So I thought it would be nice to end the reviews on like one final montage, which I ended up doing. And I'm very happy with how that turned out. So I'm also excited to have that in the video as well. Golden rule, the less Twitter, the better. That is very correct. And a lesson that we should all take to heart. It all felt pretty ominous as you were debating on the Kate bit with this background music. Yeah, I got some spooky tunes for us for almost Halloween. As always, I've got the music linked in the description, and for this stream, I used the information for the other stream, which was a joint hallucination, which didn't really happen. So the link should still be accurate in there. If you want to, like, afterwards go find the music just for yourself and stuff, it's all linked there. This synth stuff I'm playing right now is called the... what is it called exactly? 2.5 hour of John Carpenter style retro synth, which is cool. I think John Carpenter's, well, obviously it would be. John Carpenter's music itself is copyrighted, so this is as close as I can get to having some good John Carpenter on the stream. There's so many music songs. There are so many music songs. There are so many songs I would love to use in my streams if copyright wasn't a thing. I do want to say, with how extensive your reviews of the show is, I think it's helped me a lot with my own storyline. Oh, you're welcome. I am not really a writer myself, like I said. Well, that's not true. It's not that I'm not a writer. It's that I'm not good with concept work. I work better when I'm given an established world and established characters and taking them and building a narrative from them. So that's also why I like doing the reviews, because I can kind of see how the story should work, how the character should work. But when it comes to conceptualizing things from scratch, that's kind of where I fall flat. And I think it might be partly perfectionism, where because I'm so critical of films and narrative and stuff, I hold myself to those same standards. So at the same time, I can never practice being a writer and getting better at that sort of thing, because I assume I should be perfect immediately. You know, I should be able to hold up to those standards I set for others immediately without letting myself have the time to get better at it. Which sucks, you know. Have you seen the Backroom short films? I have seen the Backroom short films. They're great. They're really, really good. I was thinking, I said this in a community post, I was thinking of doing some nitpicks of various analog horror series, because I like analog horror a lot. And there's one or two where I really like them, but there's just like a misstep here and there that I wish, like, I would just be like, if this was a little bit better, this would be so much more interesting. The Backrooms is one of the analog horror series where I have zero complaints. There's nothing I can say about the Backrooms that could improve it. It is just, as it is perfect. Music songs, yeah, man. Isn't that what you guys listen to? You guys don't listen to music songs? In the same way, I can't write characters with a damn, but given characters, I can create like crazy. Yeah, I think we all just have different skill sets, you know? Like I said, this is why I'm an animator and not a character concept artist or a character designer, because that is not where my strengths lie. But I'm great at, like, I feel at least, I don't want to sing my own praises too much, I feel I'm good in a position of consultant. Like, I have friends where sometimes they'll ask my opinions on their creative writing, and I tend to feel I do well in that position as well. And it's quite thick. There we go. And I want to do this here because I like doing that. Okay, lozenge crunched. That has helped, so we can go a bit longer without my voice dying on me. I like my music musically. Good, so you understand. You know what I'm getting at. To make High God and Spice better, just drop in Dr. Livesy's walk cycle. I'm not sure what that is, but I'm guessing that's a meme that I just haven't run across yet. Analog horror is like Walton Files and Mandela Catalog, right? Yeah, that's what it is. It's like the Walton Files and Mandela Catalog and Local 58, which is very good, and the Backrooms, and what else is there? I know there's a bunch I'm forgetting. Oh, you know what my favorite one is Mystery Flesh Pit National Park. That one is fantastic. It's so good. That's not really a video series. It does have a YouTube channel, but that's told more in like fake report documents and old brochures of the park and like old merchandise involved with the park and things like that. It's not really like a video series like a lot of the others are. But I do recommend looking up the Mystery Flesh Pit National Park. It's very good. It's quite thick. Yeah, I knew somebody was gonna point that out as soon as I said it. I'm fairly good at designing characters and stories, but not actually telling the stories. See, I think I'm the opposite. I'm very good at telling the story, or at least I feel I'm good at it, but the whole designing and actually building it up from nothing is where I stumble. And again, I think it might be perfectionism, where I don't allow myself to get better at it because I expect to be perfect right away, which is not how life works. It's not how anything works. But that comes from like the gifted child syndrome, when you're really good at something at school and you're really, really good at it, and people always praise you for being very good at this one thing. And then you grow up and you feel like you have to be good at everything immediately. And then when you're not, you get very, like, depressed about it, and you feel, oh, I guess I just suck at this thing. Oh, thank you. Something happened. Oh, it was a subscriber. Thank you to whoever subscribed. That was very kind of you. How to make High Guardian Spice better. More Amaryllis screen time, it's true. I'm like legitimately bummed out that Amaryllis is tied to High Guardian Spice and we're likely to never see that character again, because she's so good. She's such a great character. Do this. There we go. In the show, Rosemary's outfit is a bit too busy. Her hair is eye-catching enough. Why did they give her this puffy clown skirt? Why not pants and knee-high boots? Because Rodriguez based her off of Madoka Magica. That's why. And he just never kind of moved away from the puffy skirt that he had for her originally. If you see all his designs for her throughout the various years, the puffy skirt is one design element that has always been there right from the start. And he just never did away with it, basically. I think it could be better if it didn't have this leather straps on the side. And I'm not too sure about the stripes, because you're right, it is kind of clownish. It kind of reminds me of the clown in the Ace Attorney series. I'm not sure which one it is, where one of the murder suspects is a clown girl. It kind of looks like that. And I'm not trying to be mean, like it legitimately reminds me of that. Did you talk about the early 2003 storyboards? Apparently the writing is better in that one rather than the final. I had trouble accessing the writing on those storyboards. I downloaded the PDF of them, but for some reason the text didn't come with the PDF. So I have the PDF of it, but I don't have the text that goes with it. But it doesn't really matter, because the storyboards for the 2003 one, it's not a narrative-driven story, it's a comedy. Like, it's just a funny situation with, like, jokes. And I kind of feel like that's what the show at its heart should be. It should just kind of be a bunch of funny little comedic scenarios. It should never have bothered with the overarching plot, especially because it's clear nobody on the writing team was particularly interested in the overarching plot. They were just kind of interested in the characters and making them interact and shipping them together and that kind of thing. They weren't interested in the story whatsoever. So it's like, well, why do a story then? Why did you decide to do it that way? And I'm not sure if that was a decision they decided to do on their own, or if that was a mandate by Crunchyroll, because I can kind of see it being one or the other. It's not that I can think one is more likely than the other. The classy yeah, that one. Yeah, that one. Puffy clown's good for a close fighting sword fight. Yeah, it makes no sense. But like I said this last stream, I think there are some great redesigns where they rework her outfit into more function, like giving it more functionality as a fighter, which I'm also going to mention in the final thoughts. I bring up the redesigns that people do for the show right at the end. Basically just so I can show some of them off, because some of them are really cool. Some of them are really, really, really good. Some of them I'm like, why didn't we get that show? That looks like a really good show. My line art is so smooth. Thank you, Rose. I really enjoy doing line art. Like, I find it very satisfying to do line art. That's probably also why, because I'm just like, oh, I just do these long strokes and it's like, yes, it's so satisfying. Sage looks like a generic witch. Yeah, I'm convinced that Sage is based off of Kiki from Kiki's Delivery Service for like many reasons, but her outfit is a big part of why as well, because I feel it's quite obvious. There's a scene right in the intro theme song where they're flying above the town, And it looks directly like something from Kiki's Delivery Service. It looks like the DVD box for Kiki's Delivery Service, actually. I'm constantly changing the outfits I put my characters in, but I'm also not the best with outfits. Clothes are so hard. Yeah, I agree, but like I said, I just struggle with design in general. I'm not too great at it. Sage, no delivery service. It truly could be a great show if it was slice of life. With the animation errors, a comic probably would have been good. I think I keep finding in my research for the show, they talk about, oh, it was picked up as a web comic and a television show. But I'm like, but where is this comic? People keep talking in these reviews and interviews about it being picked up as a comic, and I have not seen any official comic work for this show, apart from like the comic that Rodriguez himself made, which was like 2 pages. I've not seen any official comic, and people keep talking about it as if that was part of the deal with Crunchyroll when they decided to buy the property. And I just can't find it. I'm convinced it doesn't actually exist. High Guardian Spice could have been a gold comedy. It really could have. Like, it really has potential for just kind of being funny. Sage could be a main character in theory if the story actually centered more on the old new magic conflict and she was more concerned about the rot. Yeah, it's very, like I said, it's so mind-boggling to try and figure it out, because you try and figure it out based on logic, and I don't think logic had a lot to do with it for various reasons. The comic was being made, but in the interview with Ray, he said Margaret Dean approached him to turn it into a show before it was made. Oh, is that what happened? Okay, that makes sense. Because I kept seeing talk and mention of this comic, and I'm like, this comic does not exist. And I have scoured various sources to do with this show, and I have not seen a single page of this supposed comic. But again, the show makes so little sense, and so much of the show, even the meta real things but around it, makes little sense. You feel like you're going insane after a while. So when it comes to things like, where is this mythic comic, and you can't find it, you're like, well, I guess I'm just going insane again. I guess that's just one more thing that doesn't make any logical sense on any level. You just kind of have to accept it after a while. I'm currently drawing Sage with planets and stars hanging from her head. See, that's cute. That's a good idea. Let's do this. There we go. Oh, I still have to do her leg. That'll help. There we go. And just the back of her skirt. It was supposed to be a comic, but it quickly switched into being a TV show. I see. Because I saw some interviews where they were like, it's being turned into a TV show and comic. And I was like, what? Says who? Actually, I'm going to use this, and I'm just going to set it a little lower. Why is the music so intense for a nice calming train? It's Halloween music, because I wasn't sure if we might want to draw like a Halloween scary picture for October, but I decided to do Rosemary because I got very flustered due to the technical problems we had at the beginning of this stream. And I kind of just went, let's just draw Rosemary, because at this point, everything's kind of turning into a shit show. So let's just make it easy on myself. So we have creepy Carpenter style music. Maybe that's just the kind of mood that that Rosemary inspires. Maybe that's just the kind of mood she puts me in. Rosemary is the scariest Halloween monster of all. It's true. It's like that horror movie cut that Your Movie Sucks made of the Cat in the Hat movie, where they made like an entire trailer as if it was made by what is it, A24 Studios? Is it A24 or is it 2A4? I'm not too sure. I know who they are, I just can't spell. So they said we had no budget. We had Cartoon Network's budget, but Cartoon Network shows have like 3 times the budget of an anime per episode averagely. Yeah. I actually I was going through the files I had and I saw that again, where at one point Ray says, we had no budget. And then he's like, we had the same budget as a Cartoon Network episode, but their episodes are 13 minutes and we had 23 minutes episode. And I'm like, none of this makes sense, dude. None of what you're saying makes sense. I'm just gonna color this so that I know what it is. There we go. Oops, it's the tweet again. I've kind of warmed up to this method of doing the coloring, the flat colors, using the lighthouse feature, which I wasn't really into doing and I was having trouble with it at first, but I've kind of warmed up to it. Because it does make life a little bit easier once I got over changing my workflow. Oops, that's going to flood the whole page. Hold on. There we go. Money can give more tools, but cannot save a bad story. Yeah. Also, the thing is, I do understand it's because they had very, very good writers at their helm. But like, Sailor Moon had 0 budget as well. Sailor Moon had absolutely no budget whatsoever. Revolutionary Girl Utena famously had absolutely no budget, which you can almost see in the show itself. Because Revolutionary Girl Utena, because it doesn't have any budget, focused a lot on having characters standing in such a specific way in a scene, where they had to condense all the storytelling into singular poses, because they didn't have the budget to focus on actual movement and animation. So like, but again, that was made by like people who knew what they were doing. I heard they had like $2 to $3 million in the whole show. It's not bad. I know about student films, and like, I mean like feature-length films that were made for less. How much did Hazbin Hotel cost? Rosemary's small arm. I forgot, but how often was Ray actually listed as an episode writer? Because I don't think there would be comics for all that many either. Ray is never listed in the credits as show writer. However, he's listed as show creator. And what that means is that every single script had to be read by him and approved before it got moved through to the storyboarding department. So even though he wasn't the person writing it, he was the person who had to look at every single script and say, yes, this is good, or no, change X, Y, and Z. Like, it had to go through him to get to production. It's a little bit too green. I'm actually going to choose the color myself. Oh, wait. Do it that way. In fact, Rosemary's design would work better personality-wise and fighting-wise if she was inspired by Kyoko. Kyoko from which anime? Because I'm thinking of, like, Tenchi Muyo, and I don't think that's the Kyoko you mean. Crayon Shin-chan has next to no budget, but it's comedy gold. Yeah, see, that's another good example. But again, Crayon Shin-chan is a comedy series. And I genuinely feel this show would have been so much better if it focused on trying to be a comedy, rather than have this grand epic adventure narrative that it decided it needed. Lighthouse feature. You make reference layers sound. I couldn't remember the word for it. So I'm like, it's a picture of a little lighthouse. So we'll just call it the lighthouse feature because I can't remember what it's called. Sleeves. Collar. I think those are the only white things in her. Oh no, the lace. And the socks. Yeah, that's right. The writing staff was 100% female, so Ray wasn't on the writing team. Ah, that's a good point. I think Rosemary was supposed to be good at fighting but dumb at everything else, like your average shonen protagonist. Yeah, that's what I feel as well. They say it was inspired by like old school shoujo magical girls anime, but it really does feel more inspired by a lot of shonen more than anything else. I want to say it reminds me of Hunter x Hunter, but Hunter x Hunter's writing is like the level of writing is not comparable at all. Oh, this should be this color. Like it's on another plane of existence in terms of quality. I want to know how much of a budget Hell of a Boss has if they can afford seasoned voice actors. Yeah, that's a good point. Like, I even just Richard Horvitz. If they don't have a big budget, I'm guessing Richard Horvitz alone takes up like half the budget just to have him be part of the cast. Shin-chan is amazing. Easy top 5 best anime characters of all time. It's really true. I haven't watched too much of Shin-chan, but I did watch that movie because of the YouTube channel Accented Cinema, where he talked about the specific movie that's all about like childhood and nostalgia and getting trapped within nostalgia and it's allowing you not to move forward. And one phrase he said in that review was, nostalgia is not wishing for the past. Nostalgia is being unsatisfied with the present. And that entire movie with Shin-chan is the entire focus of allowing the past to trap you so much in that because you're unhappy with how things currently are, that it prevents you from moving forward and it prevents you from growing as a person. And that movie is incredible, by the way. It's really funny because it's still Crayon Shin-chan, so there's a bunch of like fart jokes and things in it, but then it like hits you with things like that and it's astounding. And you're like, how dare this movie that includes a fart joke make me feel all these feelings? It's not fair. Kyokos that come to mind are from Madoka Magica and from Yuru Yuri. Oh, it's probably from Madoka Magica. Okay, I'm with you now. I don't know why I thought of Tenchi Muyo first. I think her name's Kyoko. Kyoko in Tenchi Muyo, that's the pirate captain, right? Who's like the best character in that whole show. Kyoko Sakura could have been Rosemary's inspiration. I actually was reading the not transcript, but this person's report back from the 2018 panel that they were having for High Guardian Spice, and apparently Rosemary's biggest inspiration was Hikaru from Magic Knight Ray Earth. And knowing that, it like makes perfect sense in retrospect. Like that makes absolute perfect sense. Even though Hikaru is a much better written character than Rosemary is. Ryoko is from Tenchi Muyo. Is it Ryoto or Ryoko? I thought it was Ryoko, but again, I'm famously terrible with names. So I'm not going to argue too much with you because if I think it's one name, chances are it's a different name. I'm legitimately awful with names. It hits you in the feels like the Spirited Away gift. Yeah, Yeah, that's exactly it. I've seen people compare that Shin-chan with being similar to a Ghibli movie. Apparently in Japan, in the terms of like highest rated anime movies, like the top 5 are like all Ghibli movies and that specific Shin-chan movie. I must find the title. The problem with Shin-chan is all their titles are like, it's like Doraemon, where their titles are like an entire sentence. That's why I'm having trouble remembering it, apart from the fact that I'm terrible with names. Do that. Ryoko. Okay, it is Ryoko? Yeah. She's awesome. Ryoko from Tenchi Muyo. She's like such a cool character. I know that is she written in Tenchi Muyo? Because the thing is, in harem anime, there's usually like a bunch of girls, but there's like the one girl in the group that you know for a fact the main character is going to end up with, even though it's a harem anime. And I think Ryoko is that in Tenchi Muyo, but there's also the princess. I'm sorry, again, terrible with names. The princess in Tenchi Muyo, who I think they lean more into ending up with Tenchi, even though it really should be Ryoko, because she is the best character in that show. For some fun fantasy, High Guardian Spice could have gone the Slayers route and based Rosemary off of Lena Inverse. You know what? That's a great point. Like, it really could have done that. It would have been awesome if it went the Slayers route. Like, that would have been really cool, and it would have worked, especially because in that panel, they do mention that they based a lot of it off of D&D. And by that, it means that they based the characters off the D&D classes, where it's like, that's not the flex you think it is, guys. Do this. Do this. There we go. It's a little bit yellow. There we go, that's better. Now all titles are like that. Full sentences. Motherfuckers want to include the whole plot synopsis in the title. Apparently that's legit why though. Apparently light novel publishers were tired of the fact that they thought people who read light novels weren't reading the blurbs on the back of the book, so they literally made the titles the blurbs. Not that it really helped, because apparently the best performing light novels are still the ones that have more traditional titles, but that's what I heard. And it makes perfect sense if I think about it. Also, why is Rosemary the leader? No reason. It's because Ray Rodriguez sees her as the main character, but she doesn't actually have any reason to be the main character. She just kind of is. Flat marker. I'm gonna grab this color again. Oops, too big. There we go. I think the writers floated the idea that Ryoko and Ayame were toxic for Tenchi. You know, I mean, it's true, but the thing is, it's a harem anime. A lot of harem anime kind of have all the characters be toxic for each other. That being said, though, I started watching the original Urusei Yatsura, and I was shocked by how funny that show is. That show is 40 years old, and it is hysterical. And what I found interesting is that Lamu shows up, and she kind of ruins Ataru's life with his actual girlfriend. But with Lamu being there, Lamu actually exposes why Ataru and Shinobu do not work. Like, her being there illustrates why those two characters are bad for each other romantically. And I was like, holy shit, this is supposed to be a comedy, but it's so clever. It's so well written. And also, I wasn't expecting a lot of it because I don't really like, what's it called, Ranma. And the reason I don't like Ranma is because I don't like Akane. Like, I don't like how bitchy Akane is. So I wasn't expecting much from Urusei because I expected it to have the same level of, like, bitchiness. And it really doesn't. Like, all the characters, I don't want to say they're likable because Ataru is kind of a shithead. But the show knows exactly what it is. And Ataru is kind of a shithead, but he's always he always lands in these situations that are entirely his own fault. So you don't feel bad for him because he's a shithead. You're like, yep, that's kind of what you get, dude. It's amazing. It's amazing how well that show is put together. Thick Toon Link should have been the MC. She's a wonderful friend to everyone. It's true. And I want to talk about that more in the review itself. But I talk about how they give her a character arc in the second episode, and then they don't know what to do with her after that. And then she kind of becomes a background character, because after they have her come to kind of an agreement with her parents, they don't know what to do. So she just kind of disappears. And that's also why I kind of stopped talking about her in the reviews, because she legitimately stops being a character. I honestly think the leader should have been Parsley. Yeah, she really should have. It makes the most sense. And I think her story is just a lot more compelling. I just find the friction between her and her parents to be more interesting than Rosemary being sad about the fact that her mom is gone. Which is never developed beyond that. Like, that sentence in of itself is the only development we get in terms of Rosemary's feelings regarding her mother, is she's sad about it. And that's it. It never develops past that. Alright, Urusai Yatsura has a BBC dub with British voices. I need to watch. I saw a video get recommended to me talking about the BBC dub. I have not watched the video yet. So I've heard the BBC dub is kind of this amazing cult classic, but I've not looked into it. I'm watching the original Japanese version of it. And I'm a big fan of the Lupin the Third anime, specifically the Part 2 anime from 1979. So Urusai Yatsura's voice acting reminds me a lot of the 70s Lupin TV series, which I'm a big fan of, so I'm really enjoying the Japanese voice acting for it. I actually wanted to look up whether any of the staff on Lupin worked on Urusai Yatsura, because it feels very similar in many ways. A lot of the expressions as well feel a lot like they come from Lupin. Do you like Inuyasha? I have not watched Inuyasha. I'm not sure if I would like Inuyasha, because I think what's her name? I know her name because they yell it the whole time. It's not Natsume. What's the main character's name in Inuyasha? Kagome, that's her name. Kagome! I feel Kagome has the same problem that Akane has, where... Yeah, Kagome. My problem with it is it has the dynamic where the main girl and the main boy act like they can't stand each other, and the main girl is always mean to the main boy, and she always like chews him out, and she's mean to him, and she just treats him really horribly. And then when he lands in a position where through no fault of his own it looks like another girl is interested in him, then the main girl character acts really bitchy and mean and angry about it. And it's like, dude, you treat him horribly when nothing is wrong, and then when he shows interest in another girl, you treat him horribly for it. What do you want? Like, it drives me insane. It's like, why are you treating him this way? And I feel like Kagome has kind of the same thing going on, where she's just kind of mean to him for no reason, and then she gets angry at him if he shows interest in anyone besides her. And I hate that kind of writing. It really drives me crazy. And I think that's why I like Urusai Yatsura, because Ataru genuinely is interested in other girls, and it genuinely makes Lamu very upset. But she genuinely, when he's not making her upset, she like really likes him. She's legitimately in love with him. And it was just so refreshing after watching Akane just be awful to Ranma. Sit boy, she said that, yeah. Kagome is also very Akane. Okay, that's good to know. That's what I thought. And it's kind of why I didn't look into Inuyasha, because I'm like, is this going to be like another Akane, where I'm just going to have to sit through her being awful to him, and he can't do anything to win? Like, no matter what he does, she's going to be angry at him regardless. I'm not a fan of that kind of writing. I just get frustrated. Do you like visual novels? You know what? I have not played many. The first one I've played, and I haven't gotten very far. Well, I say I haven't gotten very far. I'm in the first chapter, but I'm 8 hours in. I have been playing, why am I so bad with names today? Higurashi. And the Higurashi visual novel is so good. And I think playing that really made me realize why people enjoy visual novels. I'm like, okay, now I understand why people are into these. Because the use of sound effects and like the background music and how it cuts out and just how the text works in time with the audio, it's really good and it's really immersive and scary. It's not quite like that. Kagome looks like Inuyasha's ex-girlfriend. Okay, I guess so. Like I said, I'm just not a fan of the whole I hate you when nothing's wrong, and then if you show interest in another girl, I really hate you all the more. I don't know. It bothers me. Inuyasha has a sequel series too. I did hear that. And I did hear the people who actually like Inuyasha were quite happy with the sequel series. Which I'm glad about. Because the worst thing in the world is if you have a show that you're really into and it gets a sequel and the sequel is just like garbage. Do I need to do anything? Oh, I know. I need to deal with this sword back here. The tsundere, it's not really the tsundere, because tsundere is kind of its own thing. A tsundere is kind of very obvious that she likes a guy, because she gets very flustered and emotional, so even though she's kind of yelling at him and telling him he's stupid and she doesn't like him, it's very obvious that she does. Whereas with Akane, she's just mean. She's just really mean. Although, Ranma does have Shampoo in it, like the character. And I do like Shampoo. I think Shampoo is great. Even though I think, is Shampoo kind of offensive? I know she is in the English dub because they make her talk like really broken English. But I don't know if, like, as a character, she's an offensive stereotype. I hope not, because I really like her. I think she's cool. Apparently Inuyasha was more successful than entire Gundam franchise in the US. Oh, that's painful. Oh. Gundam is really good though. I need to watch more of it, but I've seen the first movie, which encapsulates like the first third of the original 70s show, and I've read a little bit of the manga of the original 70s show, and it's really good. And I really, really want to watch 0083, because I know that's the one that everybody loses their mind over. Conditioner is the better character. Shut up. I love Shampoo too. Oh, be quiet, you guys. Shampoo's great though. I'm gonna mention Ranma because I want to compare Haigori and Spice to Ranma and Urusei Yatsura, just because that's kind of what I'm watching at the moment. And so I actually have a picture of Shampoo. Where is she? Oh, all these pictures of Tokyo Mew Mew. Ah, here she is. There we go. I just think she's cool. I like her hair. And I like that she can kick your ass. I like Shampoo. I think she's great. Is it rather oh, you're talking to Zane. I'd like to see a series where they do the Ranma and Akane relationship, but then the last few episodes takes the abuse seriously. Oof, that would be like School Days, which, spoilers for School Days. Wow. School Days is a show that exists. And it definitely is what it is. I'm kind of working this picture more than I have the others, but I don't know, I kind of just want to hang out a little bit longer, so I'm kind of doing extra things that I don't normally do in these streams. Up, wrong way. Here we go. Oh, I see. Okay, hold on. Did this wrong. Oh, new reference. There we go. Filter blur. Motion blur 0. There we go. School days used to get watching parties. Yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to play around with her line art a little bit, and then I'm going to have to call it quits for the night. But I just kind of want to hang out for a few more minutes so we can chat. And then we shall see. Like I said, I'll see how it goes in the week or so. Maybe I'll do like an impromptu extra stream or something, depending on my time. She's super pretty. Like I said, the fact that Akane sucks really gives all the other girls a chance to truly shine. Every other girl is, in my opinion, better written too. Yeah, I do agree. It's not like Love Hina, where Love Hina is such garbage. And in Love Hina, I don't think there's a single girl in Love Hina that's like likable. I think every single girl in Love Hina is just awful. Rosemary looks so excited about her new ear. Yes, she's celebrating her new ears. She's like, oh, hell yeah, finally got those ears. Sage gave her the ear growth potion. Yeah, might as well. Space Runway. Ideon has same character as Gundam. It's really dark. I want to watch that one as well. I'm aware of it, and it looks really up my alley. Like I said, I'm enjoying the original Urusei Yatsura. I did watch episode 1 of the remake after I watched a few of the original, and it's very different, but I think it's pretty good so far. I'd have to watch more of it to really decide. It's very different in terms of how they handle the humor, and I think I prefer the original just because it's more my kind of humor, but it's not bad. Like, it's actually pretty good so far. Oh, hey, thank you so much for the super chat, Indigo. I came in late, but we got to dunk on Akane. Thanks for the stream. Thank you so much, Indigo. That's really kind of you. Puffy, I painted something for you. How can I share it? Oh, thank you, Nyar. That's great. That's really, really, really nice of you. Thank you. You know what? Drop it in my instant messenger on Tumblr. I'm very bad at instant messages, but I will make an effort to get back to you on that. There's the tone for the super chat. Thank you again, Indigo. It's really kind of you. I'm gonna drop the link to my Tumblr here. I'm also on Twitter, which I should kind of be linking Twitter more, but I have a problem with Twitter where it doesn't notify me when I get instant messages, and I don't know why. It drives me crazy. So there is my Tumblr link, so if you can just drop me an IM there. My favorite Ranma fiance was Ukyo personally, but Shampoo was very charismatic. Shampoo is really good, but like I said, a lot of the characters in Ranma are great. Even Ranma himself is pretty cool. Like I said, Ataru in Urusei Yatsura, he's such a loser. He's legitimately such a terrible character, but again, because of the way the show is written, it's so good, because when horrible things happen to him, you don't really feel sorry for him because it's his own fault. It's like, yeah, you had that coming. That was your own fault, my dude. But nothing bad really happens to Lamu. And that's also cool because Lamu, she throws lightning bolts at him for being awful, but she never really does anything wrong. Because every time she throws lightning bolts on him, he kind of deserves it. So it's really well balanced. And I think it's just because Rumiko is she's a much better writer than Akamatsu. Like, she's just better at writing. Haven't watched new Urusei Yatsura yet. Is it set Monday? Yes, it is. Actually, in the intro sequence, you can see Ataru. I don't know what app he's supposed to be using because I'm not on them. I think he's using, what's the app called? Tinder. Because he's like swiping left on like a bunch of girls. I think it's swiping left when you like somebody. And he's just like, yes, I like you, yes, I like you, yes, I like you. And then in the intro sequence later on, every single girl he finds on Tinder is Lamu in like a different outfit. It's really funny. So did Ataru improve himself as the story goes on? I think he does. He kind of remains a piece of shit, but like near the end when they're wrapping up the show, his affection for Lamu kind of comes out more and more. And I do know that at some point in the original show, his girlfriend Shinobu actually dumps him and is like, you know what? This is not working. I'm out. And I think that's great. I think that's very rare for a show like that, where the girlfriend character, who's supposed to be part of the will they weren't their love triangle, kind of just gives up and is like, you know what? I'm not doing this. I'm getting a new boyfriend. You're awful. I am sick and tired of going back and forth between you and Lamu. I am finding someone else. And that's also kind of why I wanted to start watching it, because it just seemed like it had more interesting things going on. I'm going to jump onto the chat. Rumiko stopped doing abusive main girls after Inuyasha, but she didn't replace that trait with anything. Oh, that's a shame. I really liked her manga Mermaid Saga. Yes, Mermaid Forest is the OVA. I think the manga is Mermaid Saga. I actually own that manga. I really like that one. However, I felt that she had a problem where she started off with the two main characters, and then the story kind of became about the characters they ran into and not the main characters. And I think once it got a little bit too much like that, she ended the manga, because she's like, clearly I don't really know what to do with the main characters anymore, so the story's just kind of gonna end now. Which is kind of okay, because she ended it before it got tiresome. What I don't like about Ranma is that it has no ending. Yeah, I can see that. I think I watched 5 seasons of Ranma, and then I gave up because it kind of wasn't going anywhere. And I enjoyed it, but the first few seasons animation is so good, and then for some reason, I don't know if they changed studios or what happened, but the animation quality kind of goes down in the later seasons. And I just felt, I don't know, again, maybe it's because I'm an animator, but it just kind of bothered me just enough to add to the fact that I could tell nothing was happening, and it was kind of just spinning its wheels. So after 5 seasons, I was like, I think I've seen all I needed to see of this show, and I stopped watching it. Ranma did have several fighting games, though. Yeah, that I can believe. Because that's kind of... It's almost a perfect show for a fighting game. Not only because it has so much kung fu in it, but because so many of the characters, because of the kung fu, know how to fight. So it's really... Like, even Akane can fight, which is pretty cool. So it's very easy to just kind of put them in a fighting game and say, yeah, just have them all fight each other. I'm going to turn off my tablet here, so you'll just hear it beep a bit. Okay, there we go. And I'm gonna grab some water. But yeah, I'm enjoying Urusei Yatsura quite a lot. I was shocked by how much I was enjoying it. Let me put myself on screen here so people can see. And I will just move Rosemary over, stand there for a sec, and then do this. There we go. There I am. Oh, you don't have a Tumblr? Okay, you know what, Noir? If you don't have a Tumblr, hit me up on Twitter. I'll link you in a sec. Let me just grab my profile link here. And then I'll just make sure to check my IMs. Because again, Twitter does not like notifying me of anything, so I physically have to remember to look at my IMs. In the American version, in one of the Ranma games, they made Ranma a guy who transforms into a robot suit guy. Oh, Americanization. It's weird, some of the things they did, kind of just not have any hint of weird gender stuff at all. Like, they, not just in Ranma, just like in general, they've done some weird things. Sailor Moon is obviously the obvious one, but there's a lot of stuff in other shows where it's like, okay. If you were a High Guardian Spice writer, what would you do for a season 2? What I would do for a season 2 is really nail down specific aspects of the world building that I want to focus on. And the other thing I would do is I would find a way to nerf the magic system, like the new magic system. When I was writing that fan fiction, which again is fan fiction, it's not the same thing as writing an entire show, but when I was writing a fan fiction about Discord, now the thing about Discord, the character, is he has chaos magic, so he's basically omnipotent. He can basically do whatever he wants. So the entire point of me writing that fanfic was to take away his magic so that he couldn't do whatever he wanted, because it was too powerful. It gave him too much power to do whatever he wanted. So that gave me, and that automatically gave me a plot. So what I would do in High Guardian Spice is I would find a way to nerf the new magic system. And how I would do it is I might do it where prices for the terraspheres get jacked up really, really high, where which country has made terraspheres almost integral to how society functions, and then they ranked up the price so high and made it into a luxury item. But it's a luxury item that you must have to basically survive in the modern society. That's kind of what I would try and do. And then have the main girls kind of go to which country, which seems to be what they wanted to do. Have them travel to which country and get involved in like the weird power balance going on there. Because I think having it focus on the power balance and the hoarding of resources and things, I feel like that would be very interesting. Almost like how Final Fantasy VII had comments on ecology and the destruction of nature and stuff in the name of big business, and how big business will damage the environment for monetary gain and power. Kind of like that. Which is weird because they are run. Okay. Rumiko, I recall, said she had no idea about martial arts, so she made stuff up as she went. So there's a lot of invented concepts, like when they fought with gymnastics on ice. The thing is, that's okay to me, because Ranma is a show where one of the main girls turns into a cat when she gets wet. So I think having some weird made-up martial arts stuff is okay. But yeah, that's how I would kind of handle if there was a season 2 of High Guardian Spice. That's kind of how I would handle it. Like, my main goal immediately would try and find a way to nerf new magic, and I would try and find a reason to nerf new magic in a way that ties directly into the plot, that can make which country seem more like a villain, and would make it more urgent for our main characters to get off their nonsense and actually become involved with the plot. And I feel like ranking up the urgency of terraspheres and the need that people have to use them, and people hoarding the ones they already have. And in High Guardian Spice, we actually see that terraspheres, they lose their power after a while. So you can kind of play around with the whole manipulation factor going on there, and just having which country into a much bigger villain that isn't just kind of shady and out to destroy the world, but is focusing on economics and power and things like that, and kind of bring in the main girls into figuring out how to deal with that, which would also be interesting, because then you can bring in Amaryllis, and because she is so reliant on new magic, you can have that actually be a plot point, where she really dunks on Sage in the first season, because Sage uses old magic and Amaryllis makes fun of her for it, basically the entire show. So it'd be an interesting shake-up in the second season to then have Amaryllis basically be nerfed because she can't use new magic, and then bring Sage in to kind of establish why old magic is so important. And then you can kind of have those two on a more equal footing. I'm just going all in on new magic being limitless and let the drawbacks be human error. See, that's another thing you can do. You can even push that. There's a manga called Frank and Fran, which is very good. It's a horror manga though, so just be careful. But Frank and Fran has a chapter where Frank and Fran decides to go to high school, And because she's this mastermind surgeon, the girls start asking her to do minor plastic surgery on them just to kind of make their eyes a little bit bigger and their chests a little bit bigger. And then, because they're high schoolers, they go out of control with it, where they ask her, like, for these insane body modifications. And because Frankenfran is like, okay, I'll just do that, at the end of the manga, you have these, like, teenagers who have this insane body modification surgery that you just know is going to ruin their life for the rest of their lives. And it's just kind of a comment on, like, unchecked abilities. Like, if you just have the ability to do whatever you wanted, and how not being aware of the long-lasting consequences of that, like how that can ruin your life. Thanks, Noir. I'll check it out after this stream. I like Frankenfran, although the ending was abrupt. Yeah, I like Frankenfran, but I kind of like the episodic nature of it. I made Terraspheres in my game run on magnetite, which can be obtained in killing demons. See, that's also interesting. That's another way you could do it. I 100% didn't steal that totally non-stock background. I believe you. But I'm going to start wrapping it up here because my throat is dying. As you can most likely hear, I had to chew a lozenge halfway through the stream. And I think this Rosemary turned out pretty good. I'm quite happy with that. She's a little off balance, but I think it's okay. I don't think it's too bad. Nah, she's not that off balance. And if anybody has any last things we want to talk about just for a few minutes before I say goodnight, now is the time. Also, the demon corpses cause the rot in my game. See, again, that's such a good way to do it. The demons are where you get the Terraspheres, but in killing them, it like ruins the environment. That's immediately nerfing new magic by bringing consequences into it. How would you personally rewrite the show? I would just drop the fantasy aspect and try to convince Ms. Rodriguez in making a slice-of-life ship-focused romance show. Well, that would be the ideal. And I kind of feel like that's what he wants to do anyway. So that would be a good way to do it, is just kind of refocus it into a comedy. Although I feel like you can't really do that right now because the first season ends on a cliffhanger. So you can't really go, okay, well now we're just a comedy and forget about all the things that happened in the first season. Rosemary is off balance. When isn't she? Good point. Ray is making a new show already. Yeah, I saw he tweeted about that he's like coming up with the concept for a new show. I hope it's good. Like, I legitimately hope it's a good show. And I hope that he learned from High Guardian Spice. So, I'll keep an eye on it. I mean, I don't want the guy to make garbage, right? You want good shows because you want to watch a good show. Nobody enjoys watching a bad... Well, okay, that's not true. I enjoy watching bad shows. Nobody wants a show to be terrible. Good time, good art, good reviews. Thank you. If I got in by season 2, they could also flesh out Rose's bro and dad. See, that's also interesting. You could really focus on the brother and dad. And even, you know what? You can bring in the parents and you can actually show conflict between Sage and her mother. That could also be really interesting. I enjoy watching... Yeah, so do I. I kind of halfway through that sentence realized, wait a minute, that's not true. I absolutely enjoy watching bad shows and bad anime. Let's just hope it has 2 seasons this time. Yeah. I enjoy watching videos about bad shows. This is also true. This is why I watch Red Letter Media. Like, religiously. I'll just have it playing on loop in the background. Rose's bro becomes best friends with Aster. Make it happen. That would be really great. Even better, ship Rose's brother with Aster. Like, that would be really interesting. Because of the like how Aster's character was written. And like, don't change Aster's character. Like, have him ship him with Rose's brother, and then keep his like super I'm the hero personality, because it could be really funny. Good luck to Mr. Rodriguez. Yeah, agreed. Okay, I'm gonna say goodnight, guys, because I can sit here and talk forever. So let us do this. And I shall see you guys next month. Next month, I won't leave it until this late in the month to stream. So it won't be like the 29th again. It was just a bit crazy this month because I was finishing up the show and I was doing a test animation for another project, and that didn't go through. And I had a really big commission for somebody's birthday that I had to get to. So there were like a lot of things on my plate all at once. But next month, we'll have the stream a little bit earlier in the month. So it won't be this late again. And I hope everyone has a great Halloween and eat lots of candy and watch scary movies. Because scary movies are very good and I really like horror. I just don't get to talk about it too much, but I really enjoy horror movies and you should watch some because it's good. And I shall see you all next month. Okay, bye guys. Bye.
But we had one more important